Happy Thursday morning, everybody. Got a song stuck in my head. I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow. Sound like a frog this morning. Ribbit, ribbit. You know what's causing me to know all these songs here lately? Have you noticed that on Instagram, Facebook, you can add songs to everything? I really like it. It really adds a little bit to your posts, especially if you're putting pictures out there. Got a hurricane coming. Look at that. There it is. Hurricane Erin. It's going to get close to Nag's Head, but look, it's just going to go right on out to the ocean. Right on out. No big deal. Maybe might get a big wave over there on the East Coast. That's about it. Okay. We got more breaking news in the garage area. The NASCAR schedule is really interesting. So yesterday when we posted about, North Wilkesboro is a points race and the All-Star race is going to Dover, can you believe the timing was impeccable? Just hours later, maybe a couple hours later, maybe around 11 o'clock, I remember we did a Kenny conversation yesterday with Austin Dillon. And boy, it was good. It was good, mate. It's coming out today on Dale Jr.'s Dirty Mo podcast in podcast form. But I think Charlie's I think we can only release it, I don't know, he'll release it soon on Kenny Wallace YouTube. But what I really liked about that Austin Dillon Kenny conversation is we got in depth about his relationship with his brother and, of course, Grandpa Richard Childress. Is Austin and Ty Dillon, will they take over RCR? Great conversation. And then, of course, how important that win was and what it meant to the team. Okay, I want to talk about the schedule. So right around the conversation with Austin Dillon, I'm on my phone as we're doing the conversation. I'm talking to him about the new schedule come out. And Austin goes, did it come out? I said, oh, yeah, it just came out as we're talking. So that was around 11 o'clock on Wednesday, something like that. 11:30, noon maybe. NASCAR, obviously with Bob Sargent, they're all going back to Rockingham. April 8th, April 3rd and 4th. April 3rd and 4th. The NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ow! They're going to be back at Rockingham with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, April 3rd and 4th. So put that on your calendar. Sold the place out last time. Schrader and myself were downtown Rockingham. Man, what a vibe it was. Rockingham, downtown Rockingham, the downtown square had a big party. A lot of autograph sessions. The drivers were there. So I do not right now, I do not see the ARCA series on the Rockingham schedule for April 3rd and 4th next year. But the NASCAR Xfinity series, O'Reilly Auto Parts, we got to get used to it. The NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts series will be there next year with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And one thing that they did announce, we're not bringing Cup back quite yet. However, they will have some Cup drivers in the field. So it's going to have a NASCAR Cup feel. And if you remember, they did announce that about, 2-3 months ago. So I think that's going to be a really good time. I love Rockingham. My very last win was at Rockingham in, 2001. Okay. This one caught me off guard. NASCAR going back to Chicagoland. Who the hell saw that coming? When I was doing the Kenny conversation with Austin Dillon yesterday, I said, you do know that Carson Hocevar was all over X a month ago in an airplane shooting aerial pictures of Chicagoland and said, sure would be nice to come back here. I said, did you know about this? No. Of course, I do remember Carson Hocevar took me out at the Chicago street course race. So Austin Dillon said he sure did like, Austin likes the Chicago street course, but now we're gone. We're gone from the Chicago street course race. But the point is Carson Hocevar knew that NASCAR was going back to Chicagoland Speedway before Austin Dillon. And you would figure that Austin Dillon's grandpa Richard, that he would know because, he's Mr. NASCAR. Of course, then we also talked about Richard saying, NASCAR don't like us because we're a blue-collar team. Remember that? When Richard Childress was defending Austin Hill, wrecking, what was that? Another driver there at Indy. Oh, darn it. Eric Almirola. Yeah. So when Austin Hill wrecked Eric Almirola, all the interviewing people said, Richard Childress, what do you think? NASCAR parked your driver. And Richard goes, NASCAR don't like us. We're a blue-collar team. It was funny because Richard's the car owner you want. He will defend you. But the moral of the story is, through all this, Carson Hocevar, he knew months ago that NASCAR was going back to Chicagoland Speedway. So I think my headline is NASCAR keeps surprising us. So NASCAR's going back to Rockingham with O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're going back with Truck Series. They're going to have a lot of Cup drivers there. Respond right here. Do you like that? Of course, NASCAR is announcing that they're going to open up. They're going to open up the rules and they're going to allow the Cup drivers to compete more in the Truck Series and Xfinity Series. And I think that's a fantastic idea. How can you be the best if you can't beat the best? Whoa! The next big one. Next year. Remember, this next year, 2026, will be the first year NASCAR is moving the championship race around. So this year it's I got my mind on Rockingham. This year we're going to finish it off. We're going to determine the champion out there in Phoenix. But because of you fans, next year we're going back to Miami Homestead. So Austin Dillon brought up a good point. We need to think about weather. So next year, 2026, we're going to determine the champion back at Miami Homestead. Do you like it down there? It's great weather. You can go down to Key West, Key Largo. Austin Dillon said he'd like to see the championship 1 year, maybe 2027, out in Vegas, thinking about good weather because we're already deep into November when the championship race comes around. Damn, I'm exhausted. That was a lot. All right, let's repeat ourselves. NASCAR is going back to Rockingham with O'Reilly Auto Parts and the Truck Series. That's a good deal. NASCAR going back to Chicagoland. And then, of course, they announced that next year in 2026, we'll be back at Miami Homestead to wrap up the championship. NASCAR keeps surprising us, and I think that's a good thing. And we're getting closer and closer back to normal. We're back to Rockingham. We're back to Wilkesboro. Who knows what will be next? I don't think it's over. I think NASCAR is going to announce some more things. All right, everybody. Have a really good Thursday.